Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. Now today isn't a review. I just want to show you guys the camera gear that I use when I go out travelling. I've done several videos about my travel kit and I'm regularly updating it. I think I found a pretty decent kit now. Now I have to take a lightweight camera bag. I've got arthritis, I don't want to be carrying around loads of gear, heavy gear, but I do like to take two cameras. And what I've chosen is my Billingham Hadley small bag that we have here. And I get everything I need in this one bag to create really nice images. I'm going to show you what I've got in this camera bag, and I think it's a really good combination and a really good setup. So first of all, the main camera is my Fuji X-T50, which I have here. Now, I adore this camera, and I adore it for many reasons. A, it's got a 40 megapixel X-Trans sensor in it, APS-C sensor, X-Trans sensor, and it's compact. It has got the tilty-wilty screen as opposed to the articulating screen. When I'm doing my photography, I actually do prefer this style of screen. I like it because I find it more discreet than having the screen that flips out. I also worry that I'm going to damage the screen when I flip it out. So for most of my photography, I do like the tilty-wilty screen, and with its 40 megapixel sensor, it's great if you want to crop the image in. I try not to do too much cropping even with my other cameras, but there are occasions when you do need to crop, certainly if you're doing wildlife photography or sports photography. Now I don't do either, so that in itself isn't an issue. I like to go into churches, cathedrals, architectural stuff, museum. You see here, I'm going to show you a few photographs I took at Momsy Abbey, and I do like to go inside and do shots inside the church, the abbey, and that sort of thing. I also like getting nice shots from the ground, you know, all sorts of images I like to get like that. So that's my style of photography, and a little bit of family photography. I take photographs of my brother and his girlfriend. So that gives you an idea of the sort of camera I'm looking for. And the X-T50 fits that bill beautifully, very nicely designed, extremely lovely to use. Autofocus is great. I use the autofocus tracking, so I can just pick a point on the screen and then it will track it regardless of where I move the camera or where the subject moves, and it works great for me. You've got your exposure and compensation dial on the top. I will leave a link at the end of this video to my review of this camera, but I've reviewed this camera many times and I really do like it. Dual control dials. It does take the smaller battery, which is a bit of a shame, but then again it is a small camera, so you can understand why they put a more compact battery in it. But you just have a couple of batteries in the bag and I'm going to show you. So that's one camera, and what I tend to keep fitted to it is my Sigma DCDN 10-18 lens that we have here. It's fitted to it most of the time, and I like that as a general purpose lens. Constant f2.8 aperture, so that's great again when I'm going inside you know, these darker environments, and a lovely wide angle 10mm, so that's about 15mm in full frame terms, so you get, you know, a really nice look with that 10mm lens. So I like that, and 18 takes you in just a little bit tighter, so it's quite a bit tighter, so it's ultra wide to wide on my X-T50. So that's my number one travel camera that I take with me. And the second one that fits in the same bag is me, another Fuji, is my Fuji X-M5. And this is really compact, as you can see. It's a very tiny camera. The great thing with it, it uses exactly the same battery as the X-T50, so I really only need to take one spare battery, or I tend to take two, but it takes the W126S battery in both the X-T50 and the X-M5, so that is awesome, and you know, really nice and compact. Now this was, well, it is being marketed more as a content creation camera, as a vlogging camera. I don't do vlogging, but it's great as a stills camera as well. It's got the 26 megapixel X-Trans sensor that's in the XS20, but in a very compact form factor. well, very tiny form factor, to be honest. This does have actually the articulating screen. Not my favourite thing for doing photography, but you can't have it always. But I mean, it's fine, it gets the job done. I try to keep the screen tucked in at the back of the camera as much as I can, but if I do need to do a low angle shot or a high angle shot, obviously I can, you know, open the screen and do that. But yeah, great photography camera, 26 megapixel sensor, so you're going to get really nice images from this sensor. As I say, it's the same sensor as the XS20. The control dials on the top are very common, really. It's got your PASM dial, fairly traditional, exposure compensation there. No, not really much in the way of dials on the back of the camera, but it does have the joystick. So if you want to move your focus points using the joystick, you can. I use the same method that I use on the XT50, which is basically the tracking. So I tap on the screen what I want it to focus on, and it will track that subject. Or if I move the camera, that part of that subject stays in focus, as it were. So that's what I tend to use, and I use it generally with its kit lens, funnily enough. And the kit lens is great. The kit lens does produce pretty decent images. In fact, it produces very decent images. Not the best in low light, so I tend to use the XT50 in low light and use this one for the outdoor shots. So that's what I tend to do. Also with the XT50, it has got in-body image stabilization, where the XM5 has no in-body image stabilization. It's in the lens, as in-lens image stabilization. And that's another beauty with using the kit lens, because it has got the image stabilization in the lens. And I've found if I hold it steady, I can get down to about 1/10 of a second and still get a nice sharp image. That's pretty impressive for a camera that doesn't have its own in-body image stabilization. But the images that it produces, again, are lovely. They're crisp, they're sharp, definition is lovely, dynamic range is really nice. It's just a very nice results. Very nice results from a very impressive little compact camera. So that's my two favourite combinations for when I go out as far as cameras are concerned. I do take an extra lens. I usually take my TT Artisan 27mm lens. It's not quite pancake, but it's not far off. That has got an aperture ring on the lens. I tend to use that with the XM5, but just make sure I set a slightly faster shutter speed, because of that there is no in-lens image stabilization in that lens. And that still fits in that bag beautifully. So as for two cameras, and then in the various pouches, I've got in the back here, there's space in the back there. You might not be able to see, but in the back there, I've got an iPad. I don't always take the iPad, but quite often I do. But it fits in this bag snug. It's a really nice snug fit. So I take my iPad Air, and that's great. That's no problem. And I also take, which is easier to take, my little phone. It's a Samsung folding phone. This is the one I take because I can plug the SD card into it using the adapter, and I've got almost like an iPad style screen when it's opened up for viewing the images. And because it's a mobile phone, I can upload those to Instagram, Facebook, whatever, which is great. Because I find the apps, even the Fuji app, isn't great. They're slow, they're unreliable, but taking the card out of a camera and using an SD card adapter, plugging it straight into the phone, works a treat for me. So you sat down having a cup of tea, you know, and you can upload your images using your mobile phone. I think that works great. The Billingham bag, the Billingham Hadley Small, really compact. So I've got another Hadley Small, but it's a Hadley Small Pro, but it's quite a bit heavier, although it does have the handle. I like this one because it's a lighter bag. I'm trying to keep the weight down when I go out. So if I'm taking two cameras, that's the bag I tend to use. And then in that pouch, I've got various other accessories, which is good. I take with me spare SD cards in the little wallet there. Always like to have a couple of spare SD cards. You never know when you're going to need them. So I always take the spare SD cards. I take the USB-C to C cable. and a tiny little power brick. So this power brick is handy because it's MagSafe, so it'll power the mobile phone, it'll power my iPhone if that starts to run out of juice. So I can power the mobile phone just by putting that on, and that'll charge the phone as it's showing there. But also it's got USB-C outputs on the front of it, so I can actually, while we're sat down having a cup of tea, having lunch, whatever, I can charge the camera up if I need to, charge up my iPad. It's great when everything is USB-C. You can just charge everything up using one small little power brick. That sits in the side pocket, and the other side pocket is just me USB-C adapter, SD card adapter, and a couple of spare batteries and one of those lenses. So I've got a couple of these W126S batteries in here. So I take a couple, and that's all I need for an entire day's shoot. And that works great, so I can do video with that, because the X-M5 and the X-T50 is great for video. The X-M5 is better if you're going to be doing vlogging because it has got the articulating screen. And oddly enough, it was a sunny day when we, as you can see here, it was a sunny day when we went to Momsy a couple of days ago. We don't see a lot of sunny days, but it was a sunny day. Even in bright sunlight, I can see these screens fine on the back of these cameras. Never had an issue with either of them. So that was a blessing. That was wonderful, because that did concern me with the X-M5. I do use a viewfinder on the X-T50 quite a lot, but I don't use it all the time. So it's nice that the screens are viewable even in bright sunlight. If we have a look at just a few of these images that I've taken with the X-T50, they're really nice. I like the contrast, I like the dynamic range, the definition, obviously the sharpness. That lens is a great lens for this, you know, this sort of photography. So yeah, really nice images. Great clarity, very printable, and I just like that. And again, the low sun, I think, is actually adding to the quality of that image. And I do like the autumn leaves on the ground, you know, just think it just balances quite nicely. So again, with that 40 megapixel sensor, there's plenty of room there for cropping if you want to print them, or if you want to print really large images. Having that 40 megapixel sensor is really handy. So yeah, this setup I think is what I'll be using for some time yet. Might change my mind. I'm always looking at different, you know, different cameras, but I think that is a setup that works for me at the moment, you know. So there we go. Yeah, that is my setup for now, for when I go out for a day's photography and video. It's got everything there that I need. So I've got great video if I need it, and great stills, and I've got plenty of battery power for my phone and for my iPad, or even my Samsung folding phone. I can plug that battery in and charge it up, because this does support wireless charging. But as I say, it's a great little iPad really, or tablet. It's not an iPad, it's a Samsung unit, but it's a great little tablet to use when you're out and about, if I don't want to take me bigger iPad. So and it all fits in this little Billingham handy small bag very comfortably, and it's comfortable to carry. The only thing that I find annoying with this particular bag, there is no handle on the top. That's a little bit annoying, but the Hadley Pro does have a handle, but I say it's a heavier bag. Lighter the better for me. And Billingham is my favourite bag. I always use Billingham. I love me Billingham bags. I've got loads of them. I love me Billingham bags. They are more expensive than other brands, but or most other brands, but they're so well made. They're so well made and last forever. So there we go. That's a quick look at the camera gear that I take out when I'm doing my photography. These images will be on my Flickr page. I will leave a link in the description of this video where you can view them. I think that's going to be much better viewing them on Flickr than it is here. So there we go. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please share it if you feel other people might enjoy this video. That'd be fantastic. And don't forget to like and subscribe. That'd be brilliant as well. Thanks very much. Cheers for now. Bye.